deal with airplane peanuts.
You just bought a military base, is that right?
Yeah, formerly Fort McClellan.
Well, Hollywood is making its way to Alabama. Comedian Katt Williams has purchased land in East Central Alabama with designs on making it a new hub of Black-centric filmmaking.
Magnificent. It's going to be one of the greatest things that I personally have ever done. That's the front side of the beginning of the campus, which is 30 buildings, 3 million indoor square feet. It's really magical.
The 2.5-hour conversation between Katt Williams and Theo Von on this past weekend had plenty of crazy moments, but one of the wildest things to come out of that podcast is Katt revealing his plans to turn a $1.5 million military base in Alabama into his own movie-making empire.
I was able to see what Tyler Perry was able to do with 200 or 300 acres and a military base. And
Yeah, it's amazing.
And how you could make a movie studio out of that.
Fort McClellan is an hour and a half from Atlanta, where Tyler Perry's studio is located at Fort McPherson, which he purchased back in 2015 for $26 million and transformed the property into a studio worth an estimated $280 million 10 years later.
It's unbelievable.
It hit the news recently, but I purchased it a couple of years back. Yeah, I've had it, so we've been working.
Did you reach out to Tyler Perry? Because I know he has, like, in Atlanta, he has an amazing space. It was unbelievable.
No. I wasn't looking then or now for assistance. Like, we can do this. I just needed to be able to have a home where great movies and entertainment product could be made without any of the shenanigans that are generally involved with Hollywood.
It's been talked about to death at this point, but over the last 15 years or so, the comedy filmmaking industry has been completely abandoned by Hollywood and mainstream studios. And classic movies like Anchorman, Superbad, and Step Brothers have all been replaced with remakes of the exact same superhero movies over and over and over again, all of which for some reason require hundreds of millions of dollars to make. On the bright side, this has in turn created a huge hole in the market for funny content and forced funny people to start making things themselves. From Shane Gillis' self-funding Tires to Stavros' cult movie, and so many more self-made sketches and stand-up specials, comedians are creating more content on their own budgets than ever before. And Katt Williams opening a movie studio is just one of the more extreme examples.
They'll let the comedy movie industry die if we allow it, you know what I mean? And nobody in the fan base ever said, hey, we don't want any more funny movies.
Yeah.
Nobody said that. None of the fans ever were like, hey, we're tired of laughing at the movies. Yeah, boo to the No one ever said that. They just decided, we make more money in the superhero action department. Let's just do all those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it'll just take for somebody in the comedy sphere to start producing funny shit, and there we go again.
Katt Williams also made it clear during the episode with Theo that he would not be directly involved with every single project his studio produces, which would be a full-time job in itself. Instead, as long as they all meet the basic criteria of being funny enough that he'd approve it to be made in the first place, Katt claims he does not feel the need to be hands-on for every movie.
In much of the way the grocery store is set up. So my job is just to make sure that all of the food that we sell in this grocery store belongs in this grocery store. You see what I'm saying? Is it a good quality? Oh, we'll get it in there. The people will want to see that. Once that barrier is crossed, then we're just trying to make the best project for you and to make your smaller budget be able to compete with the larger budgets.
Yeah, because comedy, you don't need the really big budget either.
It just needs to be funny.
One of the main things that became clear during this 2.5-hour podcast is how much respect Katt has for Theo as an entertainer and comedian. The episode started off with Katt very generously praising Theo Von, and it carried on throughout, numerous times bringing up Theo's most viral stories and specific moments spanning back years, truly showing how big of a fan he really is.
Good to see good old Theo Von.
It's an honor,
The
man.
world loves you.
That's nice of you to say. I can't believe I'm around you, I think. I feel like you seem like a mythical figure.
That's the good thing about people like you and I. Like, if somebody thinks that they like us and they think they've made a connection with this person on the screen, when they're around us, it's legitimate because it was legitimate. You know what I mean? If Theo Von wasn't successful, he doesn't have a different story.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean? It's the same story. He lived that story.
But he'd have his plate. But it was just like a lot of.
It was a guy had you looking in buttholes. So I'm saying.
Yeah, we've had some fucking wild neighbors, bro.
Some of these guys were for certain gay.
I don't know if they was gay. I don't know if
I'm
they
not sure what they were. We're sure. That dude, number 34, like, we want to hear his stories.
Yeah.
Like, we know he's got stories, and we want to know if he'll tell the stories. And the fact that that's what you do is why.
Theo Von clearly lives up to the requirements of Katt's grocery store example from earlier, and after hearing how much respect Katt has for Theo, it would not be surprising if they work together in the future. And these two comics talking about self-made projects is actually really interesting timing, because right now Theo Von and David Spade are currently in the process of writing and creating an independent movie about two busboys from Arizona, and also made it clear they're interested in exploring an alternative route outside of the Hollywood norm.
People that wanted to give money, there was places that wanted to read it, and we were kind of going, honestly, mostly Theo, because I'm from half the old school and half the new one, and I appreciate what's going on right now versus before, and I'm kind of stuck in the old way. So are all my people, around me. I have a team like Taylor Swift. I have like 1,000 people. No, I just have one old agent that goes, "What are you doing? You go to Netflix." So, but I still love Netflix, and I like all. My last movie was Netflix. And so it was great and it did well and I was so stoked. So it's hard to let that go and go like, should we try to work it for them? But he goes, no, it'll be, let's just do it our way. No notes. And it's kind of hard because we both are in charge. And usually you have a studio, Paramount, on Tommy Boy, you have Paramount. On these other movies, Black Sheep, Paramount, Lorne Michaels, or the director is brought in, on Black Sheep, we got a director that was paid more than me and Farley. So now suddenly we have a boss that we didn't really have on Tommy Boy.
Right.
And she's saying, I know what's funny for you guys. And you go, oh, so these are the things that you can run across, even though everyone means to do well, studio notes, TV notes, everything is, you always hear these stories. I would just rather tune it out and just say, do we have the wherewithal to do this? And then if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least we did it, and then you go on from there. But it is really fun, like a bit where it's like a long bit where you have to crack every code.
Yeah.
What do we wear? What are we doing? Does this make sense? Is this funny? Is this stupid?
Well, it's bittersweet because if you're in control, you have to do all the work.
Ugh.
If Netflix has some control, but they do all the filming, the editing, the production, they have grips and all that. Yeah. I don't know how to do any of that.
Exactly. That's what we're learning, and Theo hasn't really done
anything.
I mean,
even if Theo Von and David Spade are not part of the first slate of movies made at Katt Williams' new facility, the fact that he bought a military base for this purpose is not only insane, but also really cool and inspirational. And even comedians that don't have hundreds of millions of dollars are able to still use this same approach on a smaller scale, producing and distributing their own specials, sketches, and podcasts, with the best work rising to the top. Guest spots from last week: The Joe Rogan Experience sat down with Lex Friedman, Warren Smith, Dr. Mark Gordon, Yeezy Prohaska, and God Sahad. Matt and Shane brought on Drewski, who then went on Two Bears, One Cave. We Might Be Drunk talked with Blake Griffin. Tom Segura was on You Be Trippin'. Fortune Feemster stopped by Whiskey Ginger. Graham K sat on the couch with Soder. John Renitsky took his shoes off live with Rick Glassman. Tiger Belly featured Brad Williams. Roy Wood Jr. made it weird with Pete Holmes. Roy also stopped by Bertcast. Bert cooked for Jim and Nikki Norton on Something's Burning. Jamie Kennedy took a ride on the Heartland Highway. Burbs Bros had on Louis Katz. Charo came all over your mom's house. And Mark Norman, Ari Shafir, and Shane Gillis were on Killed Tony.
Yeah, I mean, I smoked a blunt with you about 2.5 years ago.
Really?
Whoa. Yeah.
In your face, Tony.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, how's it feel?
Where the were you and Drama King hanging out? Where were you, Drama King? Were you at his apartment? Did he bring you? Did you guys kiss?
Let me show you where I get to put the hot tub.
Who's getting tickled
No,
now?
I'm not getting tickled. I would never get tickled.
Where did we smoke this blunt? So it was at the back of the creek in the cave. This was Whitney Creek. Yeah.
That's where all the lovemaking happens, Drama King.
Yeah. It was during a Legion of Skank show. You came out in a cowboy outfit. There was pretty much no.
Story tracks. I believe it
Sounds about right. We taped a little episode of Broke Black Mountain.
Yeah.
Katt Williams was on This Past Weekend with Theo Von. Ari Shaffir was on Are You Garbage? Katie Boyle was the guest on Sag Daddy to Pod. Stuff Island welcomed Adam Rowe. Stavi's World was visited by John Gabris. Stavros was also on Hot Ones. John DiColo stopped by the Tim Bartley Show. Dad Meat welcomed Ebony Moore. Story Wars pitted Dan Soder, Joe List, and Robert Kelly all against each other. Tristan Bowling and James Moss were the guests on Durag and Deer Tag. Legion of Skanks featured Derek Dresser and Gio Perez. Ben Stiller and Adam Scott were the guests on Working It Out. Justin McKinney visited the Honeydew. Hannah Berner sat in the Wayback. Lenny Marcus was on Being Ian with Jordan. Leanne Morgan broke bread with Tom Papa. The Lewis and Zach Show featured TJ Miller and Robbie Goodwin. Ari Shaffir was the guest on the Adam Friedland Show. And Nick Mullen announced his departure from the podcast. As far as new stand-up comedy specials are either out right now or coming out soon, Aaron Weber's Signature Dish comes out on YouTube January 31st. Also out on YouTube is Matt Ruby Bolo. Trey Kennedy Growing Up is out on Hulu. Liz Traeger Night Owl is out on Netflix. And Tom Green I Got a Mule came out on Prime. We also had Josh Johnson's weekly Tuesday upload, which broke his live viewing record with over 30,000 people watching the premiere. And there's a new stand-up on the spot out right now that features Ralph Barbosa, Jordan Jensen, Rick Glassman, Jetski Johnson, Eric Griffin, and of course, Jeremiah Watkins.
Do you explode easily? I don't think I explode easy. I just think I'm like in a steady anger all day. Like I could be at a grocery store. There's like one person in line. I'm like, this piece of shit. If it wasn't for them, there'd be no line. I'm just on that like all day. Like I'm not gonna do anything to them, but like fuck them.
There's also a few specials in the works right now that will be coming out soon, starting on February 11th with Felipe Esparza, Raging Fool on Netflix. That same day, Kelsey Cook, Mark Your Territory will be out on Hulu, and 1 week later on February 18th, Rosebud Baker, The Motherlode comes out on Netflix. But other than that, there was unfortunately some very sad news in the comedy world this week after Chicago comedian Ken Flores passed away at the age of 28 years old. Ken was a hilarious comedian who was on the verge of really big things, and our condolences go out to all of his friends, family, and fellow comics. And one final thing before we end this video, we just announced the winners of the second annual Joke World Awards show that thousands of you guys voted on. So first off, thank you to everyone who participated, and if you want to know who had the most votes for these 7 categories, click the suggested video on the end screen right after this. Unless you're one of the $3 Patreon members who heard the results a few days in advance, then never mind. Also, thank you to everyone who's been waiting patiently for your free Joke World stickers in the mail. We're just about caught up now, so if you want to fill out the form and claim your free Joke World stickers, feel free. We'll just make another big list, and then they should come out within a few weeks, maybe a few months at worst. Not a few months, like maybe 1 month. So like a few weeks, just like I said, 4 weeks, 1 month. Free stickers. That's it.
At Joke World. That's it, at Joke World.
And the world is WRLD.
That's a great YouTube channel, Joke World. Check it out.